way to answer people. If a person is angry with you and you sense the anger, there's a way you will speak that will calm the person from being angry. Why? Because that person's speech is ought to be with grace. Maybe, for example, maybe you offended someone and you saw the anger in the person's face. There's a way maybe you will speak and the person will calm. That person will no longer be angry. Say, let your speech be always with grace. And season your speech with salt, that ye may know how to answer. So everyone understand that salt gives taste to soup. That without salt in a soup, the soup will not have taste, irrespective of any ingredient a person has. A person might add different kind of ingredient, but if there's no salt in the soup, it will show that there's no salt. That there's no salt in that soup. Say, let our speech be with grace, and let it be with salt, that we may know how to answer every man, how to answer every people, how to deal with people, or how to interact with people, or how to relate with people. There are some certain people that does not know how to interact with people because they don't know how to talk. They don't know how to talk, or they don't know how to communicate. So Apostle Paul here is teaching people the ways of communication. He says the way that we can communicate effectively with people is when our speech carries grace, and when our speech carries salt. Because people always listen to people that their speech is with grace. That whatever word they say, a word of wisdom or a word of encouragement. The Bible says that the multitude gather, they press themselves to hear a word from Jesus. It said whenever he was passing, people will gather. They will press themselves, push it. They say, why? Because they want to hear a word from him. Which means the word that Jesus speaks during his time is a word of what? Is a word of grace. That people wanted to hear it. Because it's a word of grace and a word of what? A word of positivity. So whenever Jesus is walking on the street or walking, people gather to hear him. They'll be pushing and say, what? Because they know that whatever words that comes out of his mouth is a word of power and a word of grace and a word of encouragement, not a word of condemnation or a word of negativity. So the Bible says that we should look unto Jesus, who is the finisher of our faith, and we also learn to speak the way that Jesus also speaks. Because people can be around us, because of the way we speak or the way we do things. There are some certain people that people don't want to stay around there because why? They don't know how to speak, or they don't know how to communicate with people in a positive way. There are some people that if they will say like maybe 4 or 5 words, maybe 2 words inside that 5 are negative. Or 2 words inside that 5 are word of what? A word of destruction or a word of condemnation. And if they say 10 words, it's like 5 of the word are word of negativity. So people won't be around such people. Why? Because their words are not encouraging. Their words are not meaningful, or their word is not adding impact or cannot add impact to the life of people. So people are always around people that has a word of grace, that has a word of encouragement, or that have a word of impact. So as a Christian, Apostle James here, he said that if a person seems to be serving God, and the person cannot control the way he speaks, or the person speaks anyhow, he said people begin to doubt whether this person is serving God or not. Why? Because as a person serving God, every word he speaks matters. Every word he speaks counts. Every word he speaks, and not just ordinary word. Because why? They have known, or they have come to understand that this man or this person is no longer that person that he used to be. So the Bible encourages us as a Christian to speak a word of grace, to speak a word that carries salt, a word that carries salt, a word that can add meaning or that can add impact to the life of people. That's why Jesus told the Pharisees, he said, every idle word you speak, he said, on the days of judgment, he said, this word will be used against you. Which means our word as a Christian matters.